Hey everybody, I am joined today by Marina Classen.
Hello.
She is a part of the I Am a Student movement, right?
Yes.
And so could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I Am a Student movement is a group of organizers and students from the UBC that have come together in reaction to the recent proposed tuition hike, which was 10%, which actually ended up passing last semester, and the upcoming residence fee 20% increase for 8-month housing contracts. The student body came together to talk about these fee increases, to talk about how basically students can start having a voice within the UBC administration on how the university is run and the next steps for the university. We all believe that university ultimately should be facing towards accessibility, and we felt like these increases were making the university more of an exclusive space and not allowing for a larger socioeconomic background to come in, as well as trying to address the fact that we think that education is a right and any barriers to education should be addressed.
These tuition increases, they just affect international students and not domestic students. So a lot of people don't understand how that's a problem, and I was wondering if you could explain why the fact that it just targets international students is a huge problem.
Definitely. Well, the international-domestic divide at UBC is incredibly unfortunate that people don't seem to look at UBC as one community sometimes, because truthfully I believe we are not benefiting if we start cutting out different perspectives and international perspectives from coming into the university space and having students that contribute perspective from their different cultural context, from their different countries, coming into our space benefits our education just as much as it benefits them. There's this misconception that a lot of international students are coming from intense privilege, that a lot of them have money, because they're able to do out of state or out of country. But the truth is that is not the case at all. A lot of students are coming in with scholarships, with bursaries, with loans, in order to get access to the higher education that Canada can offer. Something to note is that here in Canada we do have domestic fee caps. The province has certain levels that they can raise it, and that's why we as domestic students were not the ones being asked to increase our fees, because technically that's illegal, and and the problem is that international students do not have a legal protected cap on their tuition fee rising. And so basically what the university can do is, if they're feeling pressed for funds, instead of reaching out to the province, they can go and turn towards international students and kind of exploit them, basically, because there's no legal protection on how much they can take from them and how rapidly they can increase the fee. And if you're looking at that from a human rights perspective, the fact that they aren't protected is something that I think we all should be concerned about.
Another big problem was that they didn't ask us about this, they just kind of threw it on us. And then another thing is no one really knows where this money is going. I talked to a representative from the IAAS. They told me that the university had no plans for how to spend this money that they're getting in, and they actually went to the IAAS afterwards and were like, okay, so it's up to you on deciding how to spend this extra money we're going to get from international students and from the tuition increases. So the fact that there was no plan is, a problem in the first place.
Well, that's the thing, is that throughout this whole process, IAAS and also AMS and the student body as a whole has really been taken out of the conversation. We have had kind of placating little consultation, town halls and things, and they explain their budget plan, but the information was incredibly limited. It was the full budget was not really given to us without us really pressing, and there's still documents that have not come through. And the AMS is able to sit at the table for a lot of these conversations, but whether they're actually heard and their voices are taken seriously into consideration is really the problem, because even the example of last semester when we were dealing with a tuition increase. The Board of Governors has certain student representatives on the board, and there's also an AMS comes into the board. Sorry, just to clarify, the Board of Governors is the economic governing body of UBC and makes all the decisions for the campus, and there's a lot of problems with that. But first of all the students came to this meeting to talk about tuition fees, and overwhelmingly, all student voices were saying, no, we have, like, this is not okay. You can't just turn to students to supplement budgetary problems. You have no valid, like, you've switched around to your reasoning in terms of how, what these funds are going to be used for. And you can't just ask for money without really solid, concrete ways that we're going to see this money applied and benefiting students. The reason we're fighting so hard for tuition increases now and housing increases now is because this is a trend. It's a trend of this, like, continuing on to become more and more higher inaccessible fees, and a trend towards corporatization and privatization of the university, which means that you're not pulling on public funds and to supplement education. You're really putting pressure on the individual and getting corporate hands involved in the university, so private funding. The consultation process has been abominable. It's been horrible.
Yeah.
And although that has kind of been recognized, there hasn't been an effort to really change that. And what it has become clear through this process is that really our voices are basically, they have like a checkbox of like, talk to students.
Yeah.
But they don't really take in what we're saying and how to make fundamental changes that are on our terms, which essentially the university is supposed to be for us.
I hear that a lot of the money that gets raised from all these tuition hikes and everything goes to research and not to the students. Like, it targets undergrads, like especially international undergrads, like they're the ones who end up paying a lot, but they don't see any benefit. And it really just goes to research.
President Gupta likes to repeatedly say
is
that we need to find funds so that we can be a more advanced, like, research institution, we can be internationally recognized. Essentially what he's saying is he wants to raise our ranking because that brings in more funding. It brings in media attention. It brings in, like, the university getting more attraction, but attraction from an elite community. Mm-hmm. Like, research funding is important. It's incredibly important. But like you said, like, is this really going to be benefiting students in their daily lives? Like, it's great to have a high-level research institution, but if that is at the expense of students feeling, like, supported within this environment, feeling like, you know, if they're not coming from a high economic class, that they even have a place within the university.
Do you think that maybe research institutions should actually be separate from the educational system?
The structure of a university really does, like, bring those two things together. I don't think they really could be separate, just because of the fact that professors are living, like, dual lives. They are their part is teaching and their part is researching. I am in support of professors having accessibility to research funding. I am, for sure. And I'm also in support of undergrads having access to these incredible people that are doing big things, that are thinking about big ideas, that are researching things on new frontiers. A lot of new ideas come out of universities, and I think the connection is actually beneficial. But, like, the problem is that, like, you kind of need to think, like, what is your ideal university? Like, what is the thing you're looking for? And for many students, you know, things about, like being able to get by on their bills and, you know, being able to access these high-level researchers, being able to, you know, learn enough and take in enough and get enough skills that they can go into the world and, like, contribute in the way they want to. Those are all valuable things, but they cannot exist when a university is inaccessible. So, like, those high-level research positions are important, But, like, do we really want that at the cost of the university only being for the elite? I don't think so.
Exactly, especially because university is now incredibly important for gaining opportunities in terms of jobs.
Totally.
If an employer sees that you don't have a university degree, they're going to be like, well, this other person has a university degree, so I'm going to hire them. It doesn't even matter what it's in. I mean, I talked to an academic advisor, and they're like, yeah, they don't care as long as you have a university degree. And especially if it's UBC.
You know, I worry about that, like, prestige thing, and that's something, like, I try to, like, question, because that is one of the arguments, I think, of the administration being like, we need to stay high ranking. But prestige only goes so far.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, like...
And especially when you get into serious debt, trying to get this thing, which might get you a job.
Might, yeah. And in the economy we're in now, it's not guaranteed. And a lot of students have to make their own way. And if they're functioning with, like, already being set back by debt, I just think my biggest fear, and I think I am a student, is, talks about this a lot, is that we just don't want to go where the U.S. has gone. We don't want to move towards a more privatized university that is extremely expensive. Like, people are paying $40,000, $50,000 a year. Like, a lot of, you say, like, international students, a lot of international students are from the U.S. For me, I think that we need to be putting pressure on governments. And with the current government we have now, education has been losing money every single year. The thing is that it's been proven time and time and again that education gives people a future. Education creates a fuller, better society. It's been proven that, like, it can not only create innovation for the society, but also people who come from educated backgrounds lessen crime, lessen, you know, more, there's huge statistics on the benefits of education. I don't need to argue that because it's just apparent. So why aren't we putting more resources into that?
So what are some things that the university should do to make things more accessible? I mean, I know one thing that I would really like to see the university do is, first of all, just being transparent with how it spends its money. Because I tried looking up its financial statements, and even the consolidated ones from past years, there were certain parts that were left out. Like, you know, it didn't add up.
Basically, like, I'm a student's main goal is to have students on campus feel like they have agency and voice and can participate in the, like, political environment of UBC and in the decisions of the future. And I think a lot of students feel really disempowered, and I think that a lot of students feel like they can't do anything, but the truth of the matter is that, like, the university does not exist without us. So, like, I would really call on people to, like, get involved, like, start asking questions, like, start really vocalizing your discontent.
Could you tell everybody a little bit about what events are coming up for I'm a Student Movement?
Yeah, so basically what we're really focusing on right now is the housing, 8-month housing contracts are going to be increased by 20%. And it's become clear through a lot of our research that this number and this justification is grounded in absolutely nothing, and the university has quite a weak case. There's been talk about, increasing the numbers of beds, so that more students, because there's a demand for students to live on campus. The problem is that they are going to be increasing the range to be between $800 to $1,200 a month, and that pricing is so exclusive, and the university tries to justify it by saying, like, this is market value.
Yeah.
But it's arbitrary to say that $800 to $1,200 is the average, because it's much higher than the average. Also, they're averaging it on the higher socioeconomic area of the university, like around the university,
Yeah.
which, as we know, is like incredibly
exclusive,
like, elite.
Very few people can afford it.
Yeah, very, very rich.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's the next battle. So that will be happening. The Board of Governors meeting is on February 12th, so that's the next decision-making day.
Okay.
But prior to that, I'm a Student is going to be holding a protest on January 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're holding a protest, which we're hoping like a huge number of people to come out to protest the upcoming housing fees. I'll know we're not just going to let this like roll over.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can definitely count on me. I will definitely be at those events.
Cool.
I'm going to link the I'm a Student Facebook page and do you have
And
Twitter.
our website as
You have
well.
a website too.
We
Okay.
do have a Twitter. I'm not sure of it right now, but the website you should look up, and you can sign our petition, which is against the housing increases, and that's a petition that we're hoping to bring to the Board of Governors. I think right now it's almost at 2,000. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah.